And we're on. Welcome. If you're new to this channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Logan. This is Timeless Personal Growth and Development Fitness, and today we're talking about intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is one of the techniques that people use for weight loss. So about 2 years ago, I was in a state where I wanted to lose some weight, and I was struggling. I was trying all these different ways. I had a really hard time cutting back on certain foods. What I was trying to do wasn't working. So like cutting out on sugars and all that is like, I found that was very challenging for me. So I needed to adapt. I needed to change my method. I needed to have a different approach. So I came across intermittent fasting. So for those of you who are watching who don't know what intermittent fasting is, basically you have a fasting window and you have an eating window during the day. So for example, your fasting window, 8 o'clock at night, you stop eating. You can drink water and you can have black coffee, but that's it. And from 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock the next day, you're fasting. So once 12 hits the next day, then that's your eating window. From noon to 8 o'clock, that's your eating window. So it creates a fasting window and an eating window. So what does that do? What's the purpose of fasting? Well, for one thing, I think we're under the impression that we constantly need to fuel our bodies for energy. And the purpose for intermittent fasting is to lose weight. So what the fasting period does, when we're going through our daily lives, daily routines, going through our mornings, going through exercise on an empty stomach, through a fasting stomach, we need a certain amount of energy to produce the energy that we need for whatever activity that we're doing. So we don't have food in our system. Where do we get our energy? It goes into our fat storage. And that's where the burning fat process begins, is through the fasting process. When you're feeling really hungry, but you know you're looking at your watch and you're like, well, I gotta wait 4 more hours, so I gotta push myself through this hunger for 4 more hours. And you do it. And you'd be very surprised of how much weight you can actually lose with intermittent fasting. And often, day to day, you don't even notice it. Because you keep going through the routine and keep going through the cycle day and day, and it becomes a pattern. And you don't necessarily need to watch exactly what you eat. Yes, you want to make sure you're getting the proper amount of foods into your system. You want to get your protein, you want to get your carbs, you want to get your fruits. You want to stay away from all that processed crap. You don't necessarily need that. But what's the formula to losing weight, for dropping weight? The energy that you're using to put out exceeds the amount of energy that you're putting in. Simple formula to lose weight. So by cutting breakfast or cutting brunch, cutting that meal in the morning, cuts your caloric intake that you would usually take in. So it cuts amount of energy that you're putting in. So the energy that you're going to use for other activities, such as working out or going to work or whatever else is you're doing, that's when the fat burning cycle begins. And you don't necessarily need to watch what you eat. You just got to follow your eating pattern. It's an eating cycle. That's all it is. It's a fasting window, and then it's a eating window, and that's all it is basically. So I started it about 2 years ago, where I wouldn't eat breakfast. No breakfast. And I would just make myself, from like when I wake up in the morning, I would have black coffee, and then I wouldn't eat until lunch, around 12:30. And I was surprised within a month of how much weight I started to lose. And a good way to lose even more weight and be able to lose it quicker and to feel healthier, fasted cardio. So you want to get 10 minutes in the morning of quick, high intensity cardio during your fasting window. And then you go about throughout your day. And you don't need to necessarily, like I said, you don't necessarily need to watch what you're eating. You just got to follow that routine. And you follow that cycle. Some people like to follow the keto diet or have smaller meals. It depends who you are. Whatever works for you. For me, intermittent fasting has worked. And we're finding our culture, if our Western culture, we have a tendency to overeat. That we have a tendency to put too much food into our bodies that we don't really need, and it's such a goddamn stress on our digestive system that we don't need. Like, what happens when you eat a big meal, like big Christmas meal, Thanksgiving meal, and like, oh, I feel so tired, just want to lie on the couch and take a nap and not do anything. Why do you feel like that? Because your digestive system is freaking stressed out. That all your body's energy is going to digest all the food that you just put into it, and you don't have enough energy to actually do stuff. That's why you feel sleepy. That's why you feel tired, because all that energy is going to digesting, when that energy could be used for things that are more productive throughout your day, throughout your life, through what the responsibilities that you have throughout your day. That's why having smaller meals makes you feel better. It gives you more energy. Why? Because it's easier to digest instead of having a huge acid-filled, carbohydrate-filled meal. You don't need that. Little meals. Little, tiny meals into the eating window, and then fasting. No food through your fasting window. And you'd be surprised how actually good you feel. What do people say all the time? What do we hear in our Western culture now? We hear, well, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. No, it's not. You really, really don't need breakfast. Think about it. A human being can survive weeks without food. You don't. And you need breakfast to have a lot of energy. No, because you're just accustomed to doing that. Once you accustom your body to not eating breakfast, you'd be surprised how great you feel. You don't feel bloated, you don't feel heavy, you don't feel your sugar intake has declined a little bit, so you have more natural energy going through your body. And you feel great. Because you don't need breakfast. And if you are going to have breakfast in the morning, if you are going to break that fast in the morning, small meals, little meals. You don't need a big breakfast. And it depends what the fasting window. You decide what you want to do. For me, not eating in the morning and waiting till lunch was the best for me. Some people like eating in the morning, and then they stop eating around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. To me, I don't know about you guys, for me, not eating at night, or having a really, really early dinner and then not eating the rest of the night, that's probably even more beneficial and actually probably help me lose weight more and get fitter more. But damn, that's so much harder. Like you guys watching this, you guys know. You get home, sit on the couch, reading a book, you want to put on a movie, and you want snack food. You want something to munch on. You know that feeling? You just want snack food while you're relaxing at the end of the day. That's hard. That's difficult. That's much more challenging. If you can do that and being able to start your fasting window at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and commit to that and stay consistent, that's impressive. Because I've had a hard time doing that. I find the fasting window is much easier in the morning. So it all depends on what your preference is. It depends on what you want to do. And it all depends on what your goal is too. If your goal is to lose weight, for me, I'm telling you, intermittent fasting has worked for me. Maybe it wouldn't work for you. But once you get accustomed to it, once you get used to the routine and the discipline of it, it's not so challenging, it's not so difficult, and it's a great way to lose weight and to stay healthy and stay fit. And that's what this channel is all about. And on that note, if you like this video, And if there's a value to you, you can like, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Logan Ryder, Timeless Personal Growth and Development. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a good week.